Welcome everyone to another edition of Beer for Breakfast ABV. And today we're very, very pleased to welcome the Burgeon Beer Company from Carlsbad's with us for Beer for Breakfast ABV. Now, first of all, joining us, producer Danielle to my right over here, and Paul Segura from the Karl Strauss Brewing Company, everyone. And joining us from Burgeon Beer, we've got Anthony Tallman, the head brewer. Good to have you here, Anthony. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. And also joining us, Matt Zerpolo, the Director of Business Operations.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, now you guys are both co-owners of Burgeon, and you have a third partner as well, correct?
We do, yes. We left him at the brewery.
Someone's got to do the work, right?
Someone's got to mind the store, store
cleaning.
everything.
He's cleaning.
So do they have a name?
Derek Van Leeuwen's our third partner.
Derek. All right, terrific. Well, I'm glad you guys could make it today. And you've only been around now, well, as you can see, since 2016. So when did you guys come together last year?
We got our building August 1st, did the build out, brewed November 1st, opened December 4th, and then had a grand opening mid-January.
Wow. Okay.
That's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was extremely
Wow.
fast. We lived there.
Good for you
Day in
guys.
and day out,
Yeah.
did a lot of work ourselves, hired contractors for certain things, but
Awesome.
a little bit quicker than we expected even ourselves.
And you're on Yarrow Drive in Carlsbad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right across from Palmer Airport.
Oh, okay, very cool. I know that area over there. All right,
Yeah.
great. If you ever have to go and fly some beer out in an emergency, you're in good shape. You're right across from an airport. That's handy. So Danielle is pouring the first beer that we're going to try, and that is the Noble Miner, and that is a grisette. Now, Anthony, what is a grisette?
For us, a grisette's like a lower alcohol, more sessionable version of a farmhouse style beer. So we ferment it with a French Saison yeast. Something a little unique with this beer is we actually free ferment it. So we knock it out at a higher temperature when we're sending it to the fermenter, and then we don't turn the temperature controller on at all. So this particular batch got up to like 88 or 89 degrees during the fermentation process.
And what would it normally get up to?
I mean, if we were to control this type of, like an IPA that we would do, we normally ferment at like 67.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the original beers that...
We didn't open with this beer, but it was shortly
couple months
after.
after,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're on our second or third batch of this now.
It's got a real bready nose.
Oh,
For a beer that fermented that warm, I expect more phenolic.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
phenolic's not really, a huge part of this. It's still bready and very drinkable.
and it's interesting you say that because I'm actually getting a lot of that funk. I'm getting like a little bit more of that phenolic, but it's probably because my taste buds aren't quite as smart as yours.
Actually, they may be more astute than mine.
Hey, that's my last name. Stop doing that.
Well, as you've mentioned before, Paul, women tend to have a more developed sense of taste than
And smell,
men do.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's got a slight tartness on the finish because we do use a little bit of acidulated malt to like bring that pH down. Not to like name it a sour beer, but we get a lot of people that come in this specifically looking for a sour beer, and we're not producing anything of that sort yet, at least. So this is kind of where we direct them to because it's got a little bit of that in the finish. And
So when people come into your tasting room and they say, "What's your lightest beer?" This is the beer. That
this is one of the two that we would typically offer somebody. We make another beer that we just call the Burgeon Common Ale. It's a cream ale by base.
Okay.
And then we finally got our first lager in the tank. We added 2 more 30-barrel tanks in July, and I was just dying to get a lager going. So we have a Pilsner going right now.
Awesome. Very cool.
So yeah, that'll be our third option for a lighter beer, and hopefully that's something we can stick around.
Cheers,
Cool.
congratulations.
Cheers.
That's
Thank you.
great.
Cheers.
You guys really did have a very quick turnaround, didn't you? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been busy.
The name Noble Miner comes from...
So this beer, grisettes, traditionally were brewed for the miners in Belgium.
Oh, okay.
So when they would get out of the mine, they wanted something not as strong as a Saison or a Double or Triple. So they would go ahead and have a grisette, which was a lighter version of that style.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Have you've had a beer like this before, Paul?
Yeah, well, I've had similar styles. There's a lot of, like Belgian singles are fairly similar to this. But this one's got a more farmhouse feel to it. I really like this one a lot. It's got all the complexity that people who love beer would appreciate, but it's also approachable enough for the novice to really
Right.
like and drink a lot of as well.
Yeah, we're actually going to send this to GABF. We sent this to the California State Fair and took gold for session beer. So pretty stoked
Hey,
on that.
that's great.
So,
Congratulations.
Kind of feel like we have a
Excellent.
pretty good run at it with one of our beer entries for GABF. So.
Yeah, and 4.4% ABV. It's very lawn mowable. I see.
Yeah.
Very crushable.
Yes,
you can have a
crushable
few.
for sure. Yes. Here's the crushable.
So why is this a style that you don't see a lot of? Why is this, not like one that, you go to every brewery and they have this style?
It's funny. I get a lot of people that ask us that, and I really don't have a good answer for it. But that was why we were particularly drawn to it. As far as saisons go, I've just always really been particular about the yeast strain that I would use in a saison, and I love the French saison strain because it's not a lot of that like banana-y kind of bubblegummy stuff that goes on in some of the others. It's more citrusy and peppery to me. So, we were kind of looking at ideas of what else can we brew to utilize that yeast pitch a little bit more because, we're not propagating yeast yet. So every time we go to order a pitch, it's a pretty good chunk of money for us. So we figured, brewing a lower strength beer to kind of start the yeast off would be the best thing to do. And that was what we ended up brewing. And then the first time we brewed with this, we moved on and did a rye saison. And we're about getting ready to brew it again, so we're probably going to look at doing another farmhouse-style beer after we rebrew this beer.
I have a theory about your question, though.
Yeah.
I think brewers are like musicians, right? And they don't want to make the same music or write the same songs other people have already written.
Right.
So everybody wants to kind of do their own thing.
Well, and you guys also crafted a double IPA. It's called Trade Bait.
Yeah.
I love that name. Where did that name come from?
So we've been doing a mix of like West Coast style IPAs and doubles, as well as some of the new Northeast, the haze craze that's kind of going on. And we just were witnessing a lot of the whole trading of cans, like cross country and all this going on. And so that was kind of where this name came from. Was let's make a killer hazy style double IPA utilizing the Northeast strain that we use, and
It's super piney. Just as I'm pouring it, I'm smelling all
yeah.
the
So
pine.
Floral notes.
We've got Mosaic, Vic's Secret, and Simcoe in here. So you're probably
Wow.
getting some of that pine from the Simcoe.
Yeah.
Australian Vic's Secret's kind of a newer hop that we just got our hands on that we've really been liking a lot and used it in a couple beers to date. But yeah, this was the two beers that we have in cans up here were our last two can releases. And
So when you designed it, were you thinking of a certain, that blend of hops is pretty interesting, I think.
yeah, and I actually have never done it. And so we're trying to constantly like have a little bit of a core lineup, but also trying to brew a lot of new stuff. We think that a lot of people are really drawn to that lately. And so, now we look at with IPAs, because we've brewed so many already, is, what hop combinations have we not done? Like, what could be interesting? What would go well with other, different varieties? But this was a new one for us, and we've gotten great feedback on it. And personally, I love it. It's crushable, 8.1% to continue with the crushable thing. But
We've got a convert, everyone.
Jillable.
Cheers.
This is a little more drillable.
Cheers.
Almost Kelseyable, but not quite.
That's nice.
So good. So good.
So it's got a nice mouthfeel.
yeah,
I mean, it's
so
got a
really heavy portion of flaked wheat and flaked oats. It's just
yeah.
2-row flaked oats, flaked wheat. It's about 20% on the flaked malt, so it's where a lot of that body's coming in.
Yeah.
And then the hop combo, I think we were heaviest on Mosaic. The mid quantity was Vic's Secret, and then just a little bit of Simcoe in the Whirlpool and the dry hop.
Nice job on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we were a little nervous about it because we had never brewed it before and decided to can it. So it was going out to a lot of people really quick, but pretty happy on the way it turned out. Derek actually thought of the name too, the one who's
yeah?
down here. Yeah.
And the response has been pretty good to this so far?
Yeah, it's been great. We're sold out. We sold out in a couple days, and everyone's been enjoying it so far, fortunately.
Still have some for draft at the brewery for growler fills, but cans, yeah, we sold them out in a couple days.
Well, and your cans are just so eye-catching also. Just based on the can alone, I would drink it, and then it'd be like a happy surprise, like, oh, this is a good beer.
Hey, that's good, yeah. Our designer's been going a little crazy, just having fun with it. He actually has a full-time designing job, but he just kind of does this on the side for us.
Growlers.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for beer.
$3 in 4-packs.
He came up with our logo, so we kind of gave him the option to do all of our branding going forward. He's
Yeah,
been doing a
I
good job.
dig this logo. You guys have really cool looking growlers too, and I like the font you guys use for this too. It's sharp.
Yeah, so he actually created our font. So our Burgeon Beer Company font's a custom font. We have the full alphabet done. Same designer did it. So
Oh, no way, really?
now we're getting into using the font on the beer names, and we started running into, oh, well, crap, we don't have this letter. Or, so he ended up just making the whole alphabet for us.
So I can't find this font on Word.
Not yet.
That's kind
at
of
least.
disappointing.
Kind of cool. We're a brewery. We have our own beer and we have our own font.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey.
Custom logo, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That looks good. I like that. Yeah, talk about what Burgeon means to you guys. I mean, because it means to flourish, right?
Yeah, it does. What it meant to us primarily starting off was to grow. We all grew up here. We're all born and raised here in North County, San Diego, and that's why we wanted to have the roots in the logo, San Diego sunshine right behind the pint glass, and that's kind of how we came up with the name. We kind of translated that name into our tasting room. We have a full tree in our tasting room, a live wall, big, thick cedar slab, bar topped. It was a lot of fun to build. We did a lot of the tasting room ourselves, but we have the whole growing theme kind of going throughout the whole tasting room there.
Cedar, kind of hard to get that to rot too. That's good.
Yeah, especially when it's been scorched before. So
Right. Yeah, you got some real actual cedar fire surviving wood.
exactly, yeah. Burned down the cedar fire of '03, and we just repurposed it and created the bar top out of it. We have an investor who has a bunch of property up in Cuyamaca, and we hauled it, cut it, milled it all ourselves.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's a lot of work.
yeah, a lot of sanding.
Him and Derek trailered down like a 22-foot tree.
Yeah.
So it was the top of a 200-foot cedar tree.
Where is there a sawmill that could handle that around here?
Well, we trailered it down, kept all the limbs on, and it's standing in the tap room.
Oh,
so
okay.
we unfortunately have one really ugly load-bearing pillar in the middle of the tap room. Like we kind of built the bar around it. We're trying to get creative with like how can we disguise this thing and not make it like look awkward. And we just had so much access to these cedar trees. We're like, let's bring a tree down here. And so they drove
so
down from
rad.
Cuyamaca, trailering this tree with the limbs like hanging out the side of it.
Yeah.
Some lady actually like stopping them on Palomar Airport Road, asking where they were going with it. And yeah, we stood it up and just anchored it right to the pillar to kind of disguise it a little bit.
Well, it's cool that you didn't like go like cheesy, like, oh, we're gonna like build a tree around this. We're gonna get some paper mache.
No.
It's gonna be a tree.
No, we did a full tree. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Pretty
definitely
rad, I dig that.
it was interesting going down the 78 with the tree in the back, but that was.
So where can people find your beer other than the tasting room?
We have about 130 draft accounts in San Diego right now.
Wow.
So we've been distributing to them pretty regularly, and the two new fermenters have helped with that. We also have the can releases, which are, as of right now, just released out of the tasting room. But down the road, we're looking to get into distribution.
That's terrific. Man, you guys have just hit the ground running.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been staying busy.
Busy guys.
Yeah.
More than we ever expected, so
Yeah.
we're fortunate for sure.
Well, the last beer that we're going to try that you guys brought today is the Dutchman's Pipe, and that's an imperial stout with espresso and vanilla beans. I hate it when that happens.
Oh, that's thick.
I'm dying to know about the name. If
So
there's
actually,
a special story behind that.
Matt came up with the name, yeah, and it's so Derek is Dutch, which that's not where the name came from, but it was just kind of a nice little tie-in for him, at least. I'm gonna let you take it over because you figured it out. So
Yeah, we, I mean, you spend so much time on Google looking at different names and trying to get creative with it, but we wanted something that kind of encompassed the beer. So we have the whole growing theme, right? Mm-hmm. And this is a dark, big, bold beer. So Dutchman's Pipe
I love the smell.
is actually a cactus that has a flower on it that only blooms at night.
Like an organ pipe cactus?
I think so. I'm not quite sure. But yeah. So it's a nocturnal cactus. So it's this big burly cactus. It has this beautiful flower that starts every single night and then it closes up every morning. So I thought it would relate to a darker, kind of bigger beer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tommy, I'm surprised you've ever seen one of those before.
A Dutchman's Pipe?
Yeah, like
Oh.
they're really cool. I used to have one in my front yard, and it was weird. I was like, I came home from work super late one night, and I was like, I've never noticed flowers on this before.
Really?
And then the next day I leave, and I was like, where'd the flowers go? And then I came back the next night, and they were there, and I was like, oh. So I looked it up, and yeah, that's what it was. They're cool.
Yeah.
Wow, very cool. All right. Like the nocturnal component to this too. That's interesting. This the aroma coming off this is astonishing.
We had to bring it for
till
the
you
breakfast
taste
beer
it.
for breakfast, you know.
Did you guys have fun putting this one together?
I love this beer. So this is the second batch of this beer. We actually
smells
dumbed
great.
it down a little bit. The first brew of this beer hit really high on the original gravity, fermented a little lower than I expected. So it was actually 12.9, which we wanted to bring it down to a little bit more of an approachable, drinkable level. And then on top of that, Churchill's Pub in San Marcos, we had sold them a keg of this for Renaissance back in March. And they just had a ton of great feedback on it. A lot of regulars loved it who typically were drinking Victory at Sea.
Oh.
So they actually bumped that and now carry this 100% of the time in place of it. So we had to bring the alcohol down a little bit to be more in the range of that, as well as we wanted it personally to be a little bit lower. So yeah, we just kegged this up like 2 weeks ago, and I think Churchill's just tapped it this week for the start of hopefully what remains permanent. And
So what's in this again? Coffee, cocoa?
So this is an espresso blend. I live in Leucadia, and a friend of mine owns a roasting company called Revolution Roasters. So we deal with anything coffee related. We could deal with these guys. So it's 3 pounds per barrel of their espresso blends, just whole bean, like a dry hop, basically.
Yeah.
We bag it up, rack onto the beans in the bright tank. It sat on the beans for 2 days with about a half a pound of fresh vanilla beans that I sat there, sliced up, scraped all the fun stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
And then what's cool about it is each time we've brewed it, we use our hop. We have like a 1-barrel hop back that we kind of use as like a one-off tank. So I racked a barrel from the fermenter into the hop back and did a different coffee varietal with cacao nibs. And then that'll be one of those will be actually at Stone at the rare beer section this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
And then,
hey, well, I think we'll be there.
And then we just have a couple more, just for us to throw on tap in the tap room or save them for specialty events or whatever. So
This tastes like that See's candy, that dark chocolate See's candy, like those lollipops. As soon as I tasted it, I went, man, wait, I've had that flavor before.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to go run around the building right now. I
sensitive to coffee?
I like a little, minorly, yeah. I don't really drink caffeine, and I kind of want to go running now. And I've had like 2 drinks of this beer.
So,
And this is a not so discreet 10.9% ABV all the same.
yeah.
So tempers whatever caffeine may be in there, I would think. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a nice mix.
It's
So
uppers
we're
and
kinda-
downers at the same time.
kind of waiting to see how quick it moves or how slow it moves at Churchill's. But next time we brew this, we want to do a 30-barrel batch and stash half of it into barrels and get a little barrel program going. So
This would be great in barrels.
yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to that
Man,
point.
can you imagine bourbon and oak flavors
Oh,
on
I know.
top of that?
Gosh.
But I got to tell you, this is a delicious beer anyways. Congratulations, you guys.
thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, good job on this.
Cheers.
Love this beer.
Bing, bing.
Tink.
Have you considered doing this on nitro?
Come
out super creamy?
First brew of it, I did 2 variations on nitro. I went a little crazy because when we brewed this the first time, it was to have it ready for our grand opening. And so just to make it a little bit more special for the grand opening, we did 3 variants aside from the base beer, which we didn't add espresso vanilla bean to. So one of the variants of batch 1 now became what is Dutchman's Pipe. The base beer on the first brew, we did an espresso vanilla bean variant, and an Ethiopian coffee variant, and
Roasted coconut.
toasted coconut, which was awesome.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
And so 2 of the kegs, I forget which 2 we did, but I nitroed them. And we had those for the 2 grand opening
Just like
sessions we did.
super creamy and
Yeah.
delicious.
Yep.
Sounds like you're having some fun with these, man.
Yeah, trying to squeeze in the one-off stuff when we can. We've got some cool like collaboration beers coming up, or beers for specific events and bars, and looking at doing some fun one-offs with those beers as well.
Nice.
So are we getting, is it too early to start asking about what you're doing for your first anniversary?
No, we're actually, we're starting to think about it already. It's going to be probably in January just because there's so much going on around the holidays. We're thinking the 3rd weekend of January, pretty sure right now.
Okay.
Doing some pretty different, interesting beers for that and going a little, I don't know.
Probably do something to go into a can, make that part of the event.
Yep.
Commemorative thing.
Yeah, some kind of fun anniversary beer.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Got a lot of beers people are asking us to rebrew, so we might kind of take some of those and turn them
Yeah.
into like a big imperial stout or a double IPA version or something like that. Haven't really nailed down the details, but
Some expensive beers.
we're looking forward to it.
And what's your website?
It's just our name, burgeonbeer.com.
Burgeonbeer.com.
Yep.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, we actually we have another can release coming up too on the 26th of this month. starting at 11 a.m. And we have 2 different cans coming out. We're doing 2 brand new beers that we've never done before. So we're kind of going out there a little bit. But we have a beer called Sales Pitch and another beer called No Soliciting. So
Yes.
it kind of makes fun of me at my old sales days when I was selling copiers. They thought it'd be hilarious, so we went with that.
I'm just the guy that gets annoyed when you see a sales guy walking up to the door. Going,
And I used to be that sales guy.
yeah, and he was that sales guy. So
Yeah, especially if they're wearing a suit and tie. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, now I feel like it's my penance. We have tons of people coming to our door trying to sell me stuff. So
It's called karma.
it is, yeah.
Soliciting, comma,
just part
no.
of it. Just part of it.
Well, congratulations, you guys.
Thank you,
You're off to a
thank you.
great start with your beers. We're going to try some more of these beers as well when we do the radio edition of Beer for Breakfast.
All right.
And that'll be airing on that Friday. But first of all, thank you so much, Anthony Tallman and Matt Zerpola, for joining us today, co-owners and co-founders of Burgeon Beer Company. And again,
Thank you.
that's
Appreciate it.
burgeonbeer.com.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you so much for having us. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for bringing along the merch here, and I love your growlers, man. Those look great with the fancy, your own font. Yes, everybody should have their own font. Make sure you check out Beer for Breakfast ABV at 91x.com. We always roll a new edition out Tuesday evenings on the 91x Facebook page. You can also hear previous editions of the radio edition of Beer for Breakfast also at 91x.com. Thanks for spending a little bit of your morning or whatever time of day it is with us. Yes, right. Beer's going to my head. Beer for breakfast, everyone.
cheers to local beer.
My glass is
Cheers.
almost empty.
Cheers.
Oh no!